If you're like most leaders that I've worked with over my 30 years as an executive coach, you spend a fair amount of time wondering, how do I create the quality of relationships that has employees want to work with me, teams want to be working with the people in my group, my peers seeking out my guidance? The answer to this is what this video is about: reciprocal relationships. My name is Janet Harvey, and I'm the CEO of inviteCHANGE. And all of our work in the coaching field and learning and development field is about building cultures where people love to work. And what's that secret sauce? It's reciprocal relationships. So what is the problem that we're solving? I'm sure at the end of the day, you ask yourself, what is it that has people hold back, not speak their mind, not contribute in meetings, not be excited about new assignments that you've provided to them? Or maybe it's a peer, and in the meeting when you expected them to support some new idea you've brought forward, they sat quiet and they weren't an ally for you. The place to look is the way in which you're building relationships in the organization. Many leaders arrive at a certain level of accomplishment in their role, realizing they have a lot of technical competence, they're producing results, they're hitting their numbers, but they feel kind of lonely. And they're wondering, how do I create a little different experience at work for myself where it feels more collegial? Here are some traits of reciprocal relationship that I often hear described. It's fun. There's a lightness. We have a sense of humor. People are free with sharing ideas and having a bit of banter with each other, able to disagree and pitch ideas back and forth, knowing that there's a shared purpose everybody is aligned with. So whose job is that? It's yours as a leader to set the conditions for people to feel that the relationship they have with you, with their colleagues, with the work they do in the organization is reciprocal. Now, what do we mean by that? Reciprocal means, and maybe a visual image is useful here, if you think about the infinity symbol, which is the number 8 turned on its side. Now, imagine that it's glowing in a blue light, and there's a little ball, and it's moving all around that figure 8. It doesn't stop. It just keeps moving in the figure 8 symbol. That means that there's reciprocal energy. So if you put yourself on one end of that 8, and you put an employee or one of your peers on the other end of that 8, imagine, even just with your breath, that you're moving that blue ball from one side to the other. You push it over to your colleague, who in turn interacts with you and pushes it back. Now, how does it keep moving? It's not just by grit and not by your expectation, but because you've chosen to be curious enough with each other, and it's exciting. You're in a place of wonder. You're asking questions you don't know the answer to. You're learning something about that colleague that it never occurred to you to ask about before. But because you have a shared purpose to learn something about an objective or a project, some initiative that you're working on, and you're available to be a learner with them as they are with you. It's that equal exchange back and forth based in curiosity that allows reciprocity to be effortless. Now notice, sometimes people will talk about reciprocity as it needs to be an equal exchange. Well, that means somebody's thinking about win-lose or better than, less than. And that's not the basis of relationship that we're talking about. In coaching, we talk about a mindset that a leader needs to have to create reciprocal relationship. And that mindset, 4 simple words, fairly profound idea, however. Whole, meaning there isn't anything missing in this colleague. There isn't anything missing in you. You're not trying to fill a gap in your own capability, and it's not your job to be an expert on behalf of the other person. Now, mind you, what we're talking about is you're whole as a human being. That doesn't mean there might not be skills or information you want to learn. What you're saying to yourself is, this person is capable of learning, wants to learn, if I'm available to freely give my information, no strings attached, because we're in it together. Capable and resourceful are the next two words, and the last is creative. Human beings are innately creative. And when we believe this, in our conversation, we recognize that, wow, this other person sees the world differently than I do. And if I could catch a glimpse of how they see the world and they could catch a glimpse of how I see the world, that's not 1 + 1 = 2. That's 1 + 1 = 4. Because we're getting to incorporate each other's worldview that is additive to the work we're doing together. Now we've got a relationship based in the reciprocity, the exchange of our equivalent wonder and our equivalent experiences. Something new emerges that can't happen unless we have that interaction. And as a result of that interaction, we realize, wow, there are other people that we can do this with. Exponential growth, exponential creativity is what comes. And it's so much easier when we stop trying to prove who's better or worse. That good old competitive dualistic thinking gets replaced with collaboration. So these are the 3 key points of reciprocal relationship. And it does take a little practice because you got to where you are by being a technical expert and having a lot of capacity to produce results. Now you're adding the next step, which lets you produce results through other people and create that climate, those traits I was talking about: fun, lighthearted, humor, creative banter, people wanting to accept responsibility for the authority that you're granting for them to fulfill their roles in the workplace. And guess what? That makes you a leader that creates the conditions for satisfaction reciprocally. Yeah, you get to win too. To strengthen your confidence to experiment with how to create reciprocal relationships in the workplace, we have a couple videos for you over on YouTube. Both are really useful here: Values-Aligned Leader and Are You an Authentic Leader? Both of these will help you on your way to practicing with your colleagues and building more reciprocity.